All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Real Sales Talk, episode 5, season 2, and we've got a really, really good one for you all, Real Sales Talk friends. This one is going to be specific about Snapchat and real estate. We've got some good friends, some Snapchat friends who are on the line as well. We've got Justin Lindsey and Shannon Milligan. They're both real estate professionals. Also have my trusty sidekick as well, Henry. Talk to Henry J. Henry Johnson. And I am your other host, Sean Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining. Let's do this. I think I would love for Justin and Shannon just to kind of give just an introduction of yourselves. I know a little bit about you two, and I know the areas that you do business in, but let's start with Shannon first. Give us a little bit of insight into where you're at and how long you've been in real estate and so on.
Okay, so Shannon Milligan, and I am a realtor here in Richmond, Virginia. I've been in real estate since 2010. I moved to Richmond, though, in 2011, not knowing a soul, and really started selling 2012. And I went from 2012 selling 3 houses to 30 in 2013. So that's about what I do consistently per year, 25 to 30.
That's incredible. That's solid production. I know a little bit about the real estate space, and for an individual agent, that's pretty solid. Great job, Justin. How about you?
Hey, yeah. First, thanks a lot for having me on. I really appreciate it. I came in around 2010 as well. I was in the Army first, and I transitioned over to real estate, and started at a real small brokerage, and pretty much, right out the gate, just started doing anything that even felt at all kind of guerrilla marketing style. And my production, around real similar. 25, 30 is about average for me a year. This year, however, I decided that I was going to turn all the paid services off. So I'm not paying for any leads anywhere, no services anywhere. Just using free services that you can use, things like Facebook, Snapchat, and so far best year yet.
That's incredible. You're running super lean, it sounds like.
Very lean, and it's very hard.
Hustling. Well, Henry, so for those that are watching, for those that are following along with us, either live or listening to the recording on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, how can they get questions to us during the live show, or shoot us a comment after the fact, post-recording?
Yeah, so the easiest way is through Twitter, just using the hashtag Real Sales Talk. If you have any questions during watching that, so people, as well as after the show, you can use that hashtag. We talk a lot on there. Either talk to Henry J. Sean's at Sean M. Mitchell, and then Shannon, Justin, do you guys use Twitter? Do you want to share your Twitter handles and all that as well?
Sure. Mine's RVA Home Team.
Yeah, mine's at Donald_Lindsey. There's about 25 Justin Lindseys, and so I had to go with the first name. But yeah, I'm definitely on Twitter.
Awesome.
Cool. So Henry, what do we got cooking today?
Since we are going to talk about Snapchat, since we are going to talk about Snapchat, are you guys the same on Snap as well?
Yep.
No, actually, I think
you're muted.
I wish I was. When I first started putting all my social media accounts together, I wasn't smart enough to start making the names the same all the way across. That's how far I've come. So I'm at Don J. Lindsey on Snapchat. If you're on Twitter right now, I'm going to share my Snap code. So just go ahead and snap that, and you'll be able to connect.
Awesome. There we go. All right, Sean. Hey, well, I'll so yes, and so guys, I guess we might as well just jump into it then. Right. So you guys are both using Snapchat for real estate. I guess we wanted to start with just kind of talking a little more about strategies around it, right? Like, how are you using it? How are you using it to increase your business? Just different strategies that other real estate people can use, or any kind of sales people can use. Kind of when they look at Snapchat as a place to come to business. And I guess we can start with you, Shannon. I think you're muted.
Yep. There, you got me? In the beginning, I was just snapping my day, very stiff. Couldn't figure out how to get my stronghold, but then I finally realized, if you don't feel weird, you're kind of doing it wrong. So I needed to get other people involved and to get more friends. And one of the ways I've done that is with my weekly episode of Mi Casa es Su Casa. And that is where I allow people to take over my channel and show off their homes. People really like to, at the end of the day, people just want to know that they've been seen, they've been heard, and I thought that would be a really great way. So people are showing off their houses, and it just solidifies that I am a realtor and in the real estate space without actually having to say it every 5 seconds.
I've seen this, and I think it's a really, really interesting idea. You actually you do this with any of your Snapchat friends, because I've seen you do some from you've had takeovers where they are located in a completely different state, right?
Yes, I've had some local people, and I've had people in California, Canada, all over, which is really great when they get involved from, out of the United States, because we really get let into other people's worlds. And again, it gets other people talking, and then they are absolutely engaging with me, which has just been fantastic. And that I have now people, in the beginning it was hard to get people to do it, but now I have people asking me to do it. And that's been really great because they get to share out their snap code, and so everybody gets to kind of meet everyone that I'm friends with, and it's been really, really great. So that's one strategy I do, and I also do a lot of education in my snaps. I don't really promote myself so much. I don't say, hey, call me to sell a house. I just educate, like, oh, I'm going to drop off EMD. This is what EMD is. Or this house just closed and they're doing a rent back, and I explain what that is. So it's just a lot of finding that niche in Mi Casa, Su Casa, and then educating.
I love that. One quick question, Shannon. When did you get started on Snapchat, and what was the thing that kind of made you think, okay, I now need to get on this and start capitalizing?
I got on probably about 6 months ago. I mean, it really hasn't been that long, and I'm surprised how heavily involved I am in it now. It just kind of, after about 3 months of fumbling along, it just clicked on why I need to be on it. A friend was on it. She just invited me to join, and I said, well, what do you do? I don't really understand. Do you know who I watched to figure it out? I watched Kate Hudson, and Kate Hudson was so good, and I just kind of got my bearings, and that's how I figured it out. But it was really when I started getting friends that were on there, because they can find you from the phone number, and they were connecting with me, and I started getting messages about, hey, so-and-so wants to buy a house, and I realized I need to be on this medium because this is where the people are, and if 92% of buyers are online, a lot of them are going to be moving to these kind of platforms, so if they're there, I need to be there.
Are you trying to? So, I guess one of the first questions that we have for our discussion tonight is, and we're looking for opinions here, so it's okay if it's a yes or a no. Shannon, in your opinion, do you think that Snapchat can be used to sell homes?
I think eventually it will get there. Right now, I see it more of as part of the procuring cause of a sale. Somebody might see a house, and that might start the chain of events to contact a realtor. So right now, I think it's in that beginning stages. You don't even want to ask me about what I think about MLSs. I think one day they're just going to be regulatory and not have to have all that information. And I think Snapchat and Zillows and all of that combined are a reason why. I do think someone will sell a house. A friend of mine on Snapchat is trying to do just that right now. Her name's Brianna, and she is selling a house just through Snapchat, and she's determined to do it in 90 days. So it'll be really exciting to see if she can do that. I do think long-term it can be, but right now it's just, I think, the chain of events that's going to help sell a house. That's about it.
You get clients more so than actually like selling the house for the client, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay. Make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Justin, what about you? Why don't you give us a little insight into your Snapchat strategies that you use, how it's been helping you, etc.
Yeah, well, first I love what yeah, everything that sounded awesome. And by the way, I'm sorry if I was moving around a lot. I actually have an audience on my side, so if you see me,
nice.
they scared me in my window a second ago. So when I jumped, that was what that was. So my strategy is a little bit different. I have about an 80-20 approach to. I do about 80% just me, kind of being me in my element with my family, community, and that type of thing, and then I'll do about a 20% of my content's going to be real estate related, real estate focused. And you know, one of my biggest, most popular things that I do, which has nothing to do with real estate, is I call it my my Blitz interview with my wife. My wife is a borderline Snapchat celebrity, and she's not on it. And I got
She's
this
a borderline
idea
what? I missed that.
Snapchat celebrity in our area. We have a and people come up to her in like the nail salon, like, "Hey, I know you. You're Melissa. You're Justin Lindsey's wife." And what I do in this, and I got to give Bat Dad credit. Basically, I walk around the corner and just start asking her dumb questions, and her response is usually pretty hilarious. And what that's done is people that are following me on Snapchat now are looking forward to that type of thing. And you know, it's not real. It's just very raw. It's very me, and people enjoy it. And so then, in the 20% of the content that I put out that is real estate related, real estate focused, you know, it's kind of just one of those. Oh yeah, this guy's a realtor. Hey, let me ask you this question. And you know, I'll do things like showcase restaurants, showcase beaches, or I mean, I actively try to avoid real estate related topics and just let people get to know who I am. And then after I kind of build those relationships is where I'll throw in a real estate story periodically.
Why is that, Justin, that you actively try and avoid talking about real estate? I think I know, but maybe some of the listeners aren't as exposed to the real estate business.
Well, and I feel like a lot of people, especially in Northwest Florida, whenever they're promoting themselves online via Facebook, Snapchat, wherever they're at, and chances are, if you're on Snapchat, you know these people. Every time you look at their story, it's the same thing. You know, hey, I'm a computer programmer and I'm talking about programming. Hey, I'm talking about, you know, whatever their thing is what they're promoting. And I get really bored with it. And I just stop watching those people. But if I'm constantly drawn to them, it's typically because they're putting something entertaining out, or it's something funny, or it's something that just makes me, you know, just laugh. And I think that if we do that, and if we share who we are as people, and we let them connect with us on a day-to-day, real personal level, then when the time comes for them to make a decision as to who they're going to buy a house from, you know, hey, I've watched you harass your wife for 3 years. Or you know, I watched you and your kids sing, you know, one of the Frozen songs. Those are the types of things that people connect with. And then when it's time for them to make a decision about using a service or buy goods or something like that, the decision is easier for them. And so that's the reason.
You, I also see that you do Facebook Live streams, and you kind of cover some topics. How do you decide what topics to cover on Facebook Live versus Snapchat?
You know, pretty much all the social media platforms give us the easiest tool in the world to get noticed, and it's often overlooked. The trending the trending hashtags, that's money. I look for hashtags that interest me, and then I talk to them. Snapchat has the same deal. I mean, if you look at what's in the Discover in the Discover area, you can see what's what Snapchat's wanting to put focus on, and I talk to hashtags. If there's something that's interesting, I'm going to get on it. Pokemon Go is a great one. If you're not talking about that one right now, I think that you're missing that audience, and the people are wanting to talk about it. People are paying attention to it, and so how do you inject yourself into these hashtags, and can you do it in a way where people don't feel turned off by oh, you're just trying to jump on the bandwagon.
Now, before we started recording, Justin, you were sharing with Shannon and I an idea that you had to incorporate Pokemon Go with an open house. Can you give us a little insight into that idea and what you think the potential is for that?
Yeah, and Pokemon Go, the Pokemon Go open house, the Snapchat was actually a huge component in kicking it off, because in my tiny town where Main Street is pretty much dead, any other day of the week is now booming at night. So I've been going a couple nights a week, talking to, I must have passed out 200 business cards. And as I started talking to people about it, I realized that the demographic is mostly the millennials that are out there. Which, by the way, if you're not tracking that, the millennials just passed the baby boomers as the biggest generation out there. So, real huge opportunity. And all of them were very, very, very excited to talk to me about it. The problem with it is that millennials don't have a huge attention span. And so, it's a regular conversation with these guys. And so what I did on my business card, I had my Snapchat code. And the only way that you could get information about Pokemon Go open house was through that. Of course, I shared it on Facebook today, the location, and I could have done it a few more times. But throughout the week, I was communicating to my Pokemon Go followers through Snapchat on my business card. And very effective, added about, probably about 40 followers in that over the last week. And they were talking to me, we were having conversations, screenshots about it. And, kind of the idea behind the open house was there were no Poke Stops. If you're not familiar with the game, find me offline. But there was no reason for people to come to the open house. And so what we did was we found Poke Stops in the area that we were going to be showcasing. We would go around and drop little lures to make activity happen there. But the only way that you could get the list of places that we were going to be highlighting was to come to the open house that we were featuring through Snapchat. And there were some other components in there that we tried to do, but it wasn't. It was very unfortunate. It didn't work out today. But we're back to the drawing board, and we're going to come back and hit a home run in a couple weeks.
Cool. That's cool. Shannon, as far as ROI on Snapchat, what are you looking for when you imagine getting return on your investment for the time that you're investing into Snapchat? What sort of things are you kind of hoping to get or expecting to get when you say, okay, this is worth my time as a real estate professional?
So when people message me and they ask me questions, I realize that I'm becoming the authority, and it's really about it's the long term, right? So it's about branding, and look, I'm on this. Earlier this week, I was on a Facebook Live, so it's getting that branding going. Also, referrals. I've sent referrals to agents on Snapchat, and I'm getting referrals back now, which is really nice. And so I'm connecting and networking with agents across the country. And what's crazy about that is it feels more authentic doing it on Snapchat than when I was on Facebook just saying, does any other agent know an agent in Florida, in wherever, because I'm watching these people. And I just hired a virtual assistant through Snapchat, And I didn't have to interview her because I watched her for 6 months, and I knew her work ethic. I knew what she did. I knew she could write, and that's kind of how that's been. So the referrals, and the other thing is the business sharing, the ideas. So JK Realty is a fantastic example. Kayla Leos and Jason Leos, they own this, and watching what they do, I have been masterminding with her a little bit today about a lead generation, CRM, and that sort of thing. So I'm starting to see what's working in other markets, and I can try to implement that here, because here in Richmond, Virginia, in my humble opinion, I think it's a little bit behind other markets. I was one of the, in my opinion, one of the first bloggers, right? I was dedicated to the blogging. And now I feel like I'm one of the early on adapters of Snapchat. So if I can bring in things that are working from other markets and just see how that works, it's just been mind-blowing, and I'm just starting to implement some of those things. So I would say the referrals, the social networking, the business implementation of other ideas, and just getting that branding has been really great. So the ROI is priceless. I mean, I've had past clients find me on Snapchat to send me referrals. I have 2 deals closing. One closed last week. I have one closing next week, and I got that referral through a message on Snapchat.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's really, really incredible. So I guess this is probably a dumb question, but I would assume that you now are a believer in the time that you invest into it, because it has turned into not only business for you, but also your virtual assistant.
Yes, and to speak to what Justin was saying, it used to be time consuming, because I used to worry about what I was saying, and in the beginning I was just talking about real estate. And then I thought, I don't have time for this, so now I just snap what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. You'll see about my pool and the mess that was with the contractors. You'll see my kids and the dogs, and I've talked about my mini stroke that I've had and those sorts of things. Like, I share that, and I snap it and I go now. If I screw up, I screw up, and you get to see me fumble, and I move on. So the time is maybe on, and I'm quick with my snaps. I can't stand these snaps that take like an hour to tell a story. I maybe snap at the most 25 to 30 snaps a day, so that takes me maybe 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, and I already have 2 closed deals. I mean, that's just, it's truly priceless.
I'm really curious to know about the virtual assistant. First of all, define what a virtual assistant is, because there may be some people not familiar with the vernacular. So I want you to define that, and also I want you to tell us about what it was that stood out to you about that person and their content that they were producing that kind of led to that discussion about that VA working for you.
So virtual assistant is just that. It's an assistant that is not in-house with me. She's in Oklahoma. And I started watching her, and then we have this Women of Snapchat Facebook group, and so I joined that, and I was just watching her post about her blogs, and what I really needed with somebody right now was somebody with personality that can follow up on some of my leads when I can't, because I am a one-woman show. So if I'm out showing properties, I can't follow up with that lead that I just worked so hard to get. So I'm going to have her follow up on leads and kind of just, pre-qualify them, so to speak. She's also going to be writing blogs for me, and that's really, so her personality was shown through Snapchat to know that she could screen those people, and I knew that she would not have any problem calling strangers. She's just so fabulous. And then when I found out what she did in her blogs, I went to her blogs, and I'm like, well, this girl can write, but she still sounds personable, which when you're a blogger like I was, sounding personable and having somebody sound like you is super important. And yeah. I come off like I'm talking to you, in my writing, and that's what I got from her. And she's going to do a newsletter, so it just really showed her personality. And she talked about her blog, which I was then able to check out her blogs, and it just seemed really great. And I think it's going to be fantastic. We'll see a couple months from now. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I just have this gut feeling that she's my girl.
I think that's really, really interesting, and I ask that question because for anyone listening or watching to this, especially real estate, I think that's really, really key, because what you told me is that you felt like you knew her before the discussion ever came about of her working for you. And with Snapchat, I think that that's a really, really effective strategy as a real estate professional. If you get the buy-in, and I think this is what Justin was saying as well earlier, is that if you can build the trust and rapport, the business comes naturally, just by way of you sharing your life and what you do. And you may not even necessarily have to talk about real estate, although it could be helpful at some points. But the wonderful thing, and I've experienced this myself, it's that Snapchat's a really incredible platform to help you build friendships and build trust with people, which then is the gateway drug to doing business. So to go back to the question that I asked earlier, do you think that Snapchat can be used to sell homes? Maybe directly, but maybe much more indirectly, which is Snapchat's the gateway drug to build relationship, build trust and rapport, which then opens the door to people coming to you and saying, hey, do you know anyone in this area, any real estate agents in this area? Or I'm going to be moving to your area and I'd love for you to represent me. So Hillary, have you seen something similar where in your use of Snapchat where it's just like completely enhanced the relationships that you've got and the people that you follow on there?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, because you are watching not only just their work engagements, right? It's not just somebody pitching something to you over and over and over again. It is them, like you said, right? Like Justin was saying, hanging out with their kids, and they're like, oh, cute kid, or oh, how old is he or she, and then you start to really develop these actual, personal relationships. Like you and I, for example, right? Like, we met via the internet, right? I mean, started on Twitter and Medium, but now Snapchat and this podcast. So I think it's just another way to really get to know somebody, further than just what they do at work. Because as they say, right, people do business. People say two things, right? Either people do business with people they like, or people do business with people they trust. And I think Snapchat helps you get both of those. So I think it's huge.
Justin, I've got a question for you. I'm curious because you mentioned this earlier about you getting like 40 followers from Pokemon Go and the business cards that you've been passing out. Are you intentionally organizing those people inside of Snapchat, labeling them any specific labels or anything like that, so that you can easily find them when you search Snapchat directory?
Not really. I mean, my favorite thing about Snapchat is this, and this kind of goes back into the relationship developing, is the steps that it takes to find somebody. Because God willing, Snapchat doesn't mess this up, and they start building an organic search capability. But it takes some time and energy to find somebody on Snapchat, and so when somebody takes that time and energy to find you on Snapchat, they're now invested in the story that you're telling, as long as you're telling a good story. And I think that's the reason why Snapchat has the traction that it does, and I think that's the reason why it's going to be the platform it's the platform that's really changing the social media world. And so I'm not really focused on trying to tailor my message to a certain group. I'm focused on, what am I trying to say? I'm focused on telling my story to the people that are taking time to find me and to follow me. And I think that when you start tailoring it to certain categories within the message, I think that people are going to start to lose you. And so like this week, I was all about Pokemon Go. I was unapologetic about it. I thought that I put on a great event, and it didn't work out the way I wanted to. But like I said, there's some other factors involved with that. But no. I mean, my energy is spent on trying to just show them the real me, be passionate about what I'm talking about, and then looking for that feedback and engagement, of course.
What about from the the other side of things, right? Like watching people's snaps and engaging with them there. So kind of going off of Sean's question, right, of kind of segmenting people. I know you don't segment them, but when you go look at somebody, like, oh, I met that person here, like, let me talk to them about this, or oh, that person, this. How do you kind of keep track of all that? How do you,
the cool thing about Snapchat is it's exactly like a real-life conversation. Like, if you have a conversation with somebody on the street, you can't recall that conversation. I don't hope my wife won't hear me say this, but part of my morning routine is I put my phone on my desk and just hit play, and I watch the stories that I haven't seen, and I see, like, it takes a while, but there's so much junk on the news anyway. I mean, might as well see what people are talking about, and so I just watch the stories and every day and see what's happening, and I'll talk to people based on what I'm seeing. I try to make it as authentic as I can. As far as watch people's stories, if they're just dragging on, I'm swiping. But if they're putting out good stuff and they're having good engaging conversations, then I engage back, and I thank them. Of course I thank them for what they're doing, and I'll keep a conversation going as long as it's coming in. I keep it simple.
By the way, Snapchat's not working right now, ironically. So, Shannon, you're not the only one. I tried to post something and it wouldn't post, and then I looked on Twitter, and everyone's kind of saying the same thing, that it's not working. So, as we're talking about Snapchat and how great it is, it seems to be down at the moment.
And that's probably my fault, because I was doing some lip singing of Adele's "Hello" earlier, and I'm pretty sure that broke Snapchat.
You broke the internet.
Yes, again.
Can I speak to something about watching the videos too? I spend a lot of time watching videos, like a lot of time. I get up in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm watching videos. I'm doing my hair, I'm watching videos. I'm going to bed, I'm watching videos. I learned a big lesson when I was in 9th grade. I was co-captain majorette, and I went first to do my feature, right? And the captain brought a bouquet of flowers. Oh, great, it was fantastic, right? So I got one bouquet of flowers. Well, we had like 11 more games, and she didn't do her feature routine until the last game of the season. So she kept giving a bouquet to each feature person each week. Well, when you know it, at like week 12, she got like 12 bouquets of flowers. And that taught me something. It's about reciprocity. And again, people want to know that they're seen and they're heard. So this is not a medium if you're just going to dash in and throw your stuff there, and if you're not going to reciprocate or engage with other people. Like, that is, to me, that's about, it's a whole half of that, right? It's 50%. You have to do that if you want more followers, and I hate that word followers, I say friends, but if you want more people to engage with, you have to spend the time and invest in somebody and invest in a relationship. So if you're a transactional real estate agent, don't even bother. But if you're a relationship manager and a relationship realtor, you have to put that time in.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
I agree 1,000%. I was getting at, I wanted to just kind of see if you guys were doing it as well, because I feel like every time people talk about Snapchat, we always only talk about what content people are producing, but I think exactly what you're saying, right? The engaging and watching other people's stuff is just as important, because that's really where them engaging with your content is one thing, but them knowing that you're coming back, watching theirs, and engaging with them, it helps just as much. So I think we're on the same page.
Have any of you used surveys, run surveys on Snapchat to get feedback by way of having them screenshot the option that they like or are voting for?
I have, yeah, and it's really great, especially when I'm thinking about doing something in my business. I've had people do that, and a lot of times, so they'll screenshot more than they will engage sometimes. So if I ask a direct question, they might not answer that, but if I say screenshot it, they'll do that, because again, instant gratification, right? It's quick, it's easy, done. So I've definitely used it.
Same thing.
What specific things, Shannon? I'm curious to know, like in regards to the real estate side of things, what sort of things, or maybe what sort of ideas do you see yourself using in the future to get feedback?
I'm trying to recall the couple things that I've done. I think one was pop-by gifts or something like that. Do you like this? Do you like that? I also put up little quizzes as well and have them screenshot the answer to just sometimes see if what I'm doing in terms of education is actually sinking in. So I put something the other day. My story was the other day I had to go to get CE credits, my continuing education. That's boring. Well, how do I bring my friends into my world? So I took one of the topics and I said, you know, here's the question, is it this or is it that? Screenshot which one it's going to be. But if you're going to screenshot, the other thing you have to do is you have to say what it's going to be and then do another one and tell them to get ready, because otherwise it goes past and then you're lucky that you get their attention that first time. They're not going to then go back and find your story at the very bottom and replay it to screenshot. So you do have to give them fair enough warning. Like you did that today, Sean, when you gave out your the code to get on here to join us. You know, you said get ready to screenshot. And to me, I feel like people need to be consistent with that too. If you say get ready to screenshot the next one, I'm a high D, right? Like I'm a driver. I need it to get done. If you say it's the next one, make sure it's the next one, because I don't want to watch 10 more snaps to have to go and participate. So I have used it, and I'll use it again. It's a lot of this or that kind of things. You know, what do you like best?
No,
Justin, you were going to add something. What were you going to say?
I think you're right on that. I mean, the giving the heads up is critical. Nobody is going to come back. And the reason for that is because, again, in 2016, what people don't have is we're not spending a lot of time stopping and going back and finding something. If you don't have their attention you lost it. Most of mine have been mostly making fun of things in listings. It sounds awful, but like here, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Leaving your video collection out for the world to see. Don't get a whole lot of responses. I don't get a lot of votes on it, but I do get a lot of LOLs and a lot of people just sharing. Are you serious? Is that what people are actually leaving out? I mean, I get a lot of feedback, but I also use a lot of observational humor in my snaps. Not really a whole lot of surveys like Shannon. This or that. I'm sorry. But I mean, people enjoy giving their feedback. So I mean, I guess I should start doing more this or that questions.
It's easy too. It's really easy. The one that I did that went really well was I asked my Snapchat friends what topics they'd like for me to talk about, and so I did like 4 topics. Sales psychology. Having guest or Snapchat takeovers. There were a couple other sales-centric topics, and then the last one was like none of the above. And then I asked them to like reply to that snap and tell me what they wanted to see in my content. What I really like about it is, and I think you're right, Shannon. I think you said this. A lot of people will do a screenshot. But they won't reply back to you, and it just takes a little bit less effort for someone to give their opinion by screenshotting versus hitting the reply and typing out a message or sending a video. Maybe they're not in the right place, and doing a screenshot is just really easy feedback to get. So curious to know, what other use cases could real estate agents use surveys for, where viewers screenshot the option that they like or want to vote for?
I would say, okay, a perfect example. I went on a listing appointment today. It could get down to the point where if you're helping somebody select finishes, right? Which granite would you put in here, this or that? Because that is to get that public's opinion before somebody spends $3,000 to put countertops in. I think that would be valuable. And I think in places like that, that is where it's at. There are other things that I've done, signage and that sort of thing. I actually now have riders made up, and I had asked people if they would find that, useful, And a lot of people said yes, so they screenshot that. So you can definitely get the public's opinion, but I really see that as a way to help sellers gauge the interest of the consumer, which is, by the way, the buyer. Paint colors, everything else.
Love it.
Yeah,
Justin, any ideas on that?
Well, first, as far as signage goes, and again, my neck of the woods, we are like, I'm the guy that gets jokes. I mean, I always am catching jokes because I'm using things like Snapchat when the rest of the world is saying not to. In my neck of the woods, it's on all of my signs. My yard signs have Snapchat on it, and it's almost to the point now where I am Snapchat, and that's almost my logo in my neck of the woods. People identify it, and I was doing cold calls a few weeks ago, and I was talking about how I am integrating Snapchat. I will show your house through Snapchat. We'll go through with Snapchat, which, by the way, if you've just started following me on Snapchat, I have a open house tour of the house I showed tonight. But the girl on the other line said, "Oh my gosh, I've seen your signs and I follow you. Yeah, come on over. Let's do the listing appointment." Getting out there and and just being that person who's using it. It doesn't really matter how you're using it. Just making that attempt, making that effort, and showing that commitment. People respond well to it. I would like to know from Shannon, because I haven't tried this yet. How do you, when you get the granite questions, do you take that back and you say, hey, look at look at the feedback I've gotten? Do you share that with them? I haven't done that yet. I kind of just use the shock and awe with it, where I'm like, oh yeah, I use this stuff. Nobody has actually said, hey, show me the results.
So I haven't done the result part yet, but I did do it on new construction. We were at the sales center where you pick the things, and I was showing like the 3 different sets that my client was looking at. And I did share that. I'm like, oh, so and so like this. There wasn't a lot because that was in the beginning.
Right.
But I truly think that is where it could go, especially if you've got an indecisive seller, to be able to give that immediate feedback, like, well, let me put this on here now, and I'm going to follow up with you tomorrow with where that's at. I think that's just invaluable feedback. So like I said, in the new sales center, I didn't have that many followers at the time, so I maybe got 2 people that responded. That was right in the beginning, and maybe February, and I started in January. But it's something that I would like to implement more. And by the way, I have it's on my riders, and it's scannable too, which I just love. And my neck of the woods is kind of slow on it too. And people are starting to try it. Like, I have a lot of people right now that I invited to come on, and I'm hoping that they're going to watch this and that they'll try it. So the curiosity's there, and this is totally where it's moving to. And I just think getting it on the sign and being one of the first ones out of the gate is just so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's yours then. I mean, then they're competing to catch up with you because you're the one that set that standard. So,
got to listen today. I told him that was part of my marketing plan, and the look on the guy's face was just like, you got to be kidding me, but also that is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun to actually say that to him and get the reaction.
That's awesome. And it's something that Sean and I have spoken about a few times is because I follow a few different real estate people in real estate who are using Snapchat, but like it seems like you guys are like first movers in most of these like technologies, like Facebook Live, Snapchat, etc. It seems like real estate professionals, maybe not every single one, but there's more of you kind of leading the way in these different ways of doing marketing, which is really awesome to see, and I'm happy that we're having this discussion because I'm sure there's other real estate professionals watching this like, all right, now I have to jump in, but it's just so curious. I guess I'm so curious of why is it that just this for professionals are using this versus other professionals seem to be kind of staying away. I don't know if you guys have any comments on this, just a thought that kind of runs through my mind.
Well, I think that there's, you have two. I think with any industry, you have 2 mindsets. You have the type who, they're interested in their industry, they're committed to it, and they're constantly looking for ways to improve, and that's in cars, real estate, cash register, checkout folks. But I always kind of tell my clients that I'm more of a marketing person than I am a salesperson. And what I owe them is I owe them an understanding of Instagram. I owe them an understanding of anything that's trending in the digital world where most people are at. And I need to be able to communicate that effectively. And that's kind of what set me apart in my few years in. And and I would encourage anybody thinking about getting into the business, you need to know the apps that are starting to become popular, because if you're not staying relevant, you're becoming obsolete.
And I agree with Justin, and I have a little bit of that FOMO, right? Like a fear of missing out. And I tend to be on the offense more than the defense. What's it going to hurt if I'm on Snapchat and 2 years from now it didn't take off? Oh, well, I'll try the next thing. But what happens if I miss the boat? That could be, it could just be detrimental to my business. So why not go ahead and take that step now and just try it? I'd rather be on the offense.
I love that. I think that's great. You really have nothing to lose. It's zero cost to you, with the exception of time. But if you're an early adopter, and Henry and I have talked about this often, if you're an early adopter, you win. Like, you win massively if you can get in on the front end and create the mind share. It's Shannon. You read my mind. I actually had geofilters pulled up. So I want to talk a little bit about geofilters, because this is another specific strategy that I think is massively underused for real estate professionals. So let me just tell you the story about how I used a custom geofilter recently, and then I want to kick it to you two and just kind of generate some ideas on how custom geofilters can be used. So I was in San Francisco Monday and Tuesday of this week. Coming up to that point, I was like, I really want to try having a custom geofilter made. So I reached out to a designer on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, hired a designer on there, paid $15 to have a geofilter made, a custom geofilter. And actually, I'll show you what this looks like here. Let me share my screen.
I saw it in your story.
Did you?
Yeah,
Nice.
That's good.
So here's the geofilter, and you can see over on the left-hand side, it's just this, San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, and then my face, name, and then like a little quick bio of myself. So paid $15 for that, and then uploaded that to Snapchat. The intent of this really was just to kind of network and make it a conversation point for people who were at this sales conference using Snapchat. I didn't have anyone who approached me, but this is the really interesting thing that kind of blew me away. So this is day one. I had the filter was used 38 times. Now, day one, I only used it like twice. So that means that this was used by other people 36 times and viewed. This would be the equivalent of like impressions if you were running a banner ad or something like that online. 672 times. Let me show you day two, because it got better. 34 uses of the filter and almost 1,200 views or impressions of the custom geofilter. So. And I spent, for these 2 days, for this little geofence here, it was the hotel, I spent about $22 each day. So $42 for those 2 days. Now, let's kick it to the real estate professionals here. How can custom geofilters be used? Shannon, go ahead.
So I've used one. I went in with a buddy at this, because it was right in the beginning of getting on Snapchat, and we were trying to figure this out. So he has all the metrics. I don't have them with me. He set it up. But we did a little cartoon character of him and a little cartoon character of me in baseball outfits, and we put that over the diamond where we have a, what's that called? Not professional, but it's coming up. the flying squirrels. You get lots of people there. And a lot of people used it. It was a crazy amount of number. Like, I was just surprised. But what gets me on that is people buy those signs, right, in the diamond, in the baseball fields for like, I don't know, $10,000 for the season to advertise. For all of like under $100 to have the geofilter done and to put it over that thing for like 3 hours, not only did we not pay $10,000, but we also reached those people's friends that use the filter. So you're kind of skirting around, you know, I don't have to pay $10,000 to be on a sign, and I have a really great idea where I'm having another one made. I can't share it on here right now because I'm afraid some other people will take it from me, but I'm having another geofilter made, and it's just really industry specific, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to share with you the outcome.
Justin's trying to put some peer pressure on you. I see him commenting.
Yeah, share it.
I'll share with you offline. I don't want to give out all my secrets to my competitors right here.
Okay.
Justin, any thoughts on custom geofilters?
This year, I am spending no money on marketing. However, I have done one, and I'm loving that baseball filter, though. That is awesome, and I'm stealing it. But the one that I have done is I have done one where it just says closing day on the bottom, and then at the title company, I'll put it around, you know, like a block around the title company that we're closing at, and then whoever I'm closing with, you know, assuming they're on Snapchat, they get that, and they're, you know, it's nice for them, and they use it. So haven't spent a lot of time on geofilters, but yeah, I'm working on it. But I'm definitely going to be stealing the base with the diamond one. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
I love that idea, and you know, I'm also thinking from a consumer standpoint. What about when you do open houses, and you're having people come by? You know, having some sort of little signage up on the sign-in table that you're, you know, on Snapchat, or that you've done a filter about that specific home. Maybe you have like the outline of the home, and then the property address, and then open house. So you're bringing attention to it as they come in and sign in. But then, you know, you're also inviting them to utilize that filter as they walk through the house and kind of show it off. And you know, the one thing that was brought up already is that goes to when someone uses that filter, all of their friends see that filter as well that you're not even connected to. So open houses, I really, really love the idea of promoting the house like that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I don't have a lot to say on geofilters. That's not really my AO. So
I was just going to say I have one ready to use. In our market, it has been houses have been going so fast that sometimes the open houses don't even happen. So I have one to use when that time is ready. A mortgage lender made it for me for free. So you can just see how the mortgage lenders are now also networking with us, right? Like, he made me this great geofilter, and now I can't get his company out of my head because he made that for me for free to use when the time comes.
Yeah, and on that, and this is especially if you're a brand new agent just starting out and you don't have a lot of extra cash to spend marketing, you will have lenders coming all over the place to you saying, hey, how can I get you to send me business? And your answer should be this: make me a geofilter, and I will send you business. Give me some yard signs with, you know, my stuff on one side, your side on the other, and I will send you business. They are all asking those questions, and something like Snapchat and doing what you just did, like that's the way to go, and it just gave me a great talking point for my lunch tomorrow. But yeah, they're all wanting to know, what's it going to take.
I love the trade idea. I think that's great for people right out on a shoestring budget. Like, here,
Yep.
You know, I'll do this for you if you do this for me.
Mm-hmm. And and I'm telling you, in this year, I mean, I have learned so much about how much you actually bring to the table. People don't mind paying for it, and so ask. I mean, we lose too many realtors every single year, you know, because the money just gets too tight.
What do you all think about a closing for your client? You know, these would probably be millennials that are closing on their home, but you have a custom geofilter made, maybe with the the people, and then their house, and then you kind of, if you know they use Snapchat, I think this would be a really cool way to say congratulations to them by creating a custom geofilter for a day or two or a week, and having their faces in it with their house, and then they can share that and start to talk about that.
That's a huge personal touch. I mean, that's a really good idea. I just have to remember to do it. It's true. It's true. I mean, sometimes you get so busy that you can't, do all the ideas. But I like that. I like that a lot.
Wait, are you saying you're not perfect?
Shocking,
and
right?
you don't like to remember? Yeah, I mean, you forget stuff. Like, really?
It's bad.
Henry, any thoughts on geofilters? Any ideas that we might be able to share to our audience?
No, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head. I loved just the engagement that happened here and the sharing of ideas, right? What Shannon's doing with geofilters and Justin kind of throwing in ideas, and I think it's going to help all of us in the long run. What you did and kind of looking at the metrics. I've done a few, so I went and looked at some of my metrics as we were talking here. So I don't have any new ideas to kind of add to it.
Tell us how you used it and what sort of metrics you got.
So I've used it for events that I've done, and then I kind of just have one for my Talk to Henry J. And when I looked at it, and I closed it out now, but it was used 22 times, and I had 1,000 views, which I thought was pretty cool because I didn't. You never know people are using your filter until you go back and look at it. And I thought I was the only one using the filter, so it was good to see that other people were actually engaging with it a little bit. So.
Well, I want to talk about one more topic. Did you have something to add to that, Justin?
Well, and one of the things that I thought of, we had the Florida Realtor Convention coming up later this month or in August, and I'm going to create a filter for it. I mean, that's what you did was awesome. And so if you're going to a convention, why not do that? It's going to help get you in front of more people. That's an amazing idea.
Or
can't beat that.
If you're not going to the convention, if you can't, maybe you can't afford to go to the convention. You make a filter that says, "I'm not here, but I'm talk to Henry J." Right? Because people are going to see the filter whether you tell them to see it or not. So maybe you can't pay whatever the cost is to go to the convention. Just to be able to get in front of people. I've actually done one at.
That's nice.
Yeah. I've done one at Gary V's office before. just to get him to use it. It hasn't happened yet, but.
Oh, it's funny.
Love that.
At the office, maybe one day he'll use it. He'll see me on his Snapchat.
So I want to talk about a couple of ideas, and as long as you all are good, maybe for another 15 minutes. Are you all good for another 15 minutes? Cool.
I think I'm good. I haven't got any bad looks yet.
Yeah, good. So, so Ghost Codes. Ghost Codes is a directory for it. Kind of solves the problem of what Snapchat doesn't do, which is making it easy for people to discover other people. So. Two-part question: are you on Ghost Codes, and how are you utilizing Ghost Codes?
I'm on it, and I will say when that thing came out, nothing made me feel like I was back in middle school, not being picked first. Holy cow! I felt like I was last to the game. I'm on it because I felt like I should be on it, but I'm not asking people to go heart me, to go whatever. It felt very. It just didn't feel organic for me, so I didn't go. You saw a lot of people begging them when it first came out, oh, go heart me, and I was getting messages from people I didn't know saying, go heart me and I'll heart you, and that just to me didn't seem like what the platform was for, and my picture on my Ghost Code is really bad. I need to go change that. But yeah, I'm not really utilizing
now I'm going to go look it up. I'm going to go look it up and show everyone.
I'm going to go heart you.
But I'm not really using it other than just being on it. I'll look at it every now and again. But, And I do, when did use it for a little bit, I was changing my area. So sometimes I put it in real estate, sometimes I would put it in entrepreneur, sometimes I would put it in business, just to see if that got me any more. But I never asked him for it. Now I think I'm just hanging out in real estate, and it's there, but I'm not really using it.
Kind of the same thing. I'm on it, and at first I thought it was the coolest thing ever, but then I started realizing that I don't care about anything that any of the people that I'm following or posting. I mean, I don't know them, and I think it goes back to what was the true and original intent of Snapchat. And you know, I think that if you're not active on social media right now, or active in the community, and you're not active in trying to build and grow relationships, then Snapchat's not going to do you any good. You have to connect with people in real life and then carry that conversation over on Snapchat. And that's where the value comes in. If you want to do this cast net of creating followers and getting followers, there's a place for that, and it's called Twitter. And there's a reason why Twitter is becoming, why Twitter is having to fight against Snapchat, because that is not what people are looking for. And so hopefully Snapchat doesn't make the mistake of making the cast net organic.
Henry, what say you about ghost codes?
So I was big into it when it first came out. I was one of those people who were promoting myself super hard, like, hey, like me, like me, like me, because I was, and kind of what you were just mentioning, Shannon, like trying to get my views up, get more people into my circle, right, so I can connect with more people. I don't actually have anything that I'm selling via my Snapchat or any of my social media other than like my ideas and thoughts on things. So there's not like a reason why I was trying to do it. I just kind of wanted to do it. But as time's going on, I'm not on it nearly as much. Every once in a while, I'll see that I got a heart on those codes. But I feel like, as long as you do good things and create great stuff, like your followers will go up, and everything will kind of go as your, if you're creating value, then just like with selling things, right? If it's valuable, people will give you more money for it. And if you're creating good content, like more people come check you out. Like, so I've just kind of given up on the whole ghost codes thing and just focusing on my Snapchat. and living.
So here's a couple of ideas that I have for ghost codes. So here's why I like it. First of all, I like it because it allows other people to discover you, and I still, I get, I don't know, 2 to 5 a week from ghost codes. Maybe more than that. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but I like it. I like it for self-discovery. If I want to go and find a particular person, or I want to go and find a particular type of person, I can go to the directory, search the topic, and go follow them. So one of the ideas that I have for real estate is building a referral network. If someone who is in the real estate agent category, and they're on Snapchat, that could be a good sign that they're forward thinking, that they're tech savvy, that sort of thing. That may be a good opportunity for you to build your quote unquote Snapchat referral network. And I can see, I actually recognize a few people as I scroll through here. I recognize some of these real estate agents. So that's one idea that I have. Build the referral network. The other idea is when you created your profile, one of the things that it asked you to do is to add your interest. And so when I go through, and I can probably show this to you. So when I go through, pardon the glare there, but I can see like I'm basically around software and sales and entrepreneurship, and so this actually could be a really interesting way for you to go search out other people that may be in your particular area, or maybe a particular key. Like let's say you hear of a Fortune 500 company moving their headquarters into your city. You then if you wanted to kind of be proactive and target some people that were working at that company, you can go to the search interest, and maybe find some people that are working at that company and who are very likely to be moving to your city. Now, you probably don't want to just follow them on Snapchat and ask them, hey, do you want to buy a home? But the whole methodology here that we've talked about today, which is build relationship and build trust, and hopefully that leads to business. So those are my two real estate ideas that I've got that I think for anyone who's listening to this, if they were to do it, they would just be light years ahead of even anyone. I guarantee you, no real estate agents on Snapchat or on Ghost Codes are doing those things.
I think that's a great idea. I have connected with people. I think a lot of people have found me on Ghost Codes. Hey, by the way, I was an Android user. I just switched to iPhone. So for me, it took me a while to get on Ghost Codes, so I was a little bit behind. But I really like that second idea you had too, to build that relationship as they're moving. And I will say on Ghost Codes, I did put my area, so I have more local followers. I think that found me that way. I hate that word, followers, friends that found me that way by putting in Richmond.
Yeah, I think that and one of the you'll hear often is people talking about how many followers do you have and how many viewers do you have. If we don't focus on necessarily the raw numbers of how many followers or viewers or those types of things, those aren't anywhere near as important as how many people respond to you. I would much rather have 10 people that are responding and engaging and having conversations with me over 200 people who just don't do anything. And again, it goes back to, like as you're saying, Sean, are you building relationships, or what's your purpose? And if you focus on the relationship development, that's going to be where you get your bang for your buck. And the other thing, I talk about my pet peeve real quick, which I'll get a new follower, and you get this a lot on Ghost Codes. Hey, thanks for following me. I write programming, and ask me anything. Hey, dude, I don't have a clue who you are. like, why would I ask you anything at all? I don't know anything about you. Or ask me anything. I think we should all agree. Until you are a brand, you have no business doing an ask me anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to have some serious. You need to bring some money to the game on all social media platforms, and there's anybody. I mean, I get so many of those now, who I don't know who they are or what they do, and it's, hey, ask me anything. Why? What do you do? Relationship, share, again, be raw, and that's where you're going to get your bang for your buck.
Love it.
Agreed.
Love it. One last idea that I've got, and by the way, a lot of these ideas that I'm kind of throwing out there, I went into detail on the last episode, Snapchat Strategies for Salespeople. So if you haven't listened to that, I would recommend it, because I go into detail not only on the things that I've asked, the strategies that I've asked, but also some other ones that we won't have time to do. But I think this is an interesting one, and I'm not sure if and how this could be used. So I have some ideas, but I'm curious to get the real estate practitioner's thoughts on organizing contacts inside of Snapchat, so that when you have a specific piece of content that that person is interested in, it makes it easy to find them. And so this idea of organizing your contacts into specific categories, here's one thing that I did. I'll use an example, and then I'll kind of tell you how I used it. So I don't know, maybe a month ago, I was working on a Snapchat article on my blog, ShannonMitchell.com, and I went to Snapchat, and I just kind of showed a little preview of it, of the article that I was writing, and I said, if you want me to let you know when I finish this, respond back. And so I got like, I don't know, maybe 5 people responding back with, yeah, I'd love to be notified of when you finish that. And so I took their names and I added a. You can go into Snapchat and edit their names if you go to like the little gear when you're looking at the contact. And so I just added a little VIP next to their names. So when I go to their my friends inside of Snapchat, I can go search up top, and I can type in VIP, and everyone who I've added VIP to comes up immediately. So imagine if you're a real estate professional and you're building specific types of followers on Snapchat who have expressed interest in receiving information. Maybe you've got people who want to know about new listings, or maybe you want people who are very interested in a particular piece of content that you produce. Get their feedback, ask them to quote-unquote opt in, and then go into Snapchat's your friends, and then add a little code or a little icon to them, so that when you have a specific piece of content, you've got permission from them to reach out to them directly with a link, or with a view of your listing. I'd love to hear your feedback on if that has legs and how you might kind of take that and adapt it to your real estate business.
I don't really, not really my area. I'm kind of the train of thought that Snapchat is a. This is going to sound bad. Snapchat's more of a social media performance enhancer than it is a primary means of communication. Chances are, if I have a buyer or a seller, they're already in another database for me. So I'm going to take a look at it, but it's not really something that is my primary means of communication yet.
I would agree with that, although I have started to go through, but it takes time, right? Because now I have a lot of friends on there. So last week I started, and after I did about 5, I got bored and I moved on to something else. I'll go back and do it, but I started to put little green checks next to the people that I really want to make sure I watch their stories that day and their names. And then I'm guilty of putting the little hand icon if it's like stop. I don't want to see anything they have, but I'm too nice to like just block them. I do unfriend some people. No offense, guys, but sometimes we ladies, we get some really creepy guys on there. They immediately get banned. If somebody's just hooking me, right, to use the Gary Vee term, if they're just coming at me to sell me something, you're automatically deleted. You got to take me to Wendy's at least. Get me a little dinner before we go back to the hotel. Like I need something. So they automatically get deleted. Now, I can see it because I have had clients contact me on Snapchat. I probably do need to categorize that a little better, and so I can do a mass lookup in case there is something. I just haven't gotten there yet. And maybe when time slows down, we have a little bit more time. We're kind of in a busy season, at least here. I know that you're nice all the time. Your weather's nice, but ours, when it cools down, I'll probably get a little more time and I'll go through categorize, but I haven't done all of that yet business-wise. I do it more for I don't want to watch that joke. So. Yeah,
this is very similar to, like 15 years ago when email marketing was really popular. You had to segment your list, right? Not everyone wants to receive the same types of information, and so you've got your buyer email list, and then you've got your seller email list, and then you've got your real estate agent network. Referral network email list. This, I think, works very similarly if you know that it's a very particular piece of content. You're not necessarily reaching out to everyone with this particular message, but you're able to specifically target groups of people whom are interested in that particular thing that you're sharing.
That's perfect.
I think it's an amazing idea, Sean, and I do segment people based on like where I met. Like some people, like I met via Twitter, so I'll have them have a little bird next to them. I have like my friends from I met back home, and I have like the cool thing next to them. But something I haven't done, and I think is really interesting about what you're talking about, is doing like a mass. And I do it with some of my friends, but a mass like send out of a specific type of content to these people, because unlike email, everybody opens all of their snaps. Like if you get a direct snap, you're going to open it. So if I know, okay, these people are buyers or sellers, and I'm like, I know they buy a lot of houses in this area. I know I have a house for sale. I'm going to send this to all the buyers that I have on my Snapchat, because one thing I definitely know is they're going to open it. Whether they actually want to buy it at the end of the day is another thing, but I'm at least going to get in front of them versus like email, it's hit or miss. Text message can be sometimes just a little too forward in some scenarios, where Snapchat's so it's just such a good medium for being able to do some of those outreaches, and they delete after 24 hours. So if you don't get it, you don't get it. But it allows you to really get in front of people. So I like it a lot, and I'm gonna try it out.
Cool, cool. Yeah. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Closing comments from Justin and Shannon. Where can people find both of you online? I think we covered that in the very beginning, but I want to make sure that we get you a chance to shout out your website, or where people can reach out to you if they're interested in connecting. So website, Twitter, Snapchat. Where can people find you? We'll start with Justin first.
Yeah, well, if you're following along and you're on Twitter, then find me on Snapchat. I just shared my Snap code a little while ago. But if you're on Facebook, that's kind of my primary is Facebook. So if it's / Donald Justin Lindsey, you'll be able to find me. And then I'm pretty Googleable, if that's a word. Also, my blog, lifeofjustinlindsey.blogspot.com. I have all my social media contacts there, so please check that out. But I've really enjoyed talking with you guys today. I've actually learned a whole lot. I have a ton of notes. So Sean, Henry, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And Shannon loves some of the ideas. So I feel like I benefited the most out of this conversation. So thank you.
Awesome. What about you, Shannon? Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
I'm RVA Home Team, just across everything. So Facebook, it's my business page is RVA Home Team. Snapchat, it's RVA Home Team, all one word. Twitter, it's RVA Home Team. So I'm pretty consistent throughout there. My website's rvahometeam.com. So, and again, just if you Google that, what I need to do is put my name with some of that stuff, because it's all under RVA Home Team. I also learned a lot. I have some notes here as well. So thank you all for all those great ideas, and I hope the people that are tuning in and are going to watch the replay will also, maybe they're just starting out, but I hope they give it a try, because I would rather see somebody, again, be on the offense than on the defense. So thank you so much. Absolutely.
Well, thank you too, Justin and Shannon, for taking some time out of your evening with your families and your kids and your spouse. We really appreciate it, and we'll definitely continue the conversation on Snapchat. Next week, we've got a really special guest, Mike Weinberg. He's a sales coach and sales consultant. He's written multiple books. Most recently, Sales Management Simplified, which I absolutely love, and one of the reasons why I reached out to him. He also has a secondary book called Sales Simplified, and he is truly a thought leader in the sales space. Loves Porsche cars, and we're going to have him on to talk about why there are so many bad managers out there. It's just unfortunate, and how managers can lead salespeople to success without micromanaging them. So that's going to be next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Mike Weinberg. Check out his book if you get a chance, Sales Management Simplified. And Henry, anything else on your end to add?
I was muted there. No, nothing else to add on my end. The one thing I do want to just reiterate is hashtag Real Sales Talk on Twitter. We'd love to connect with anybody who's listening, watching, or checking it out afterward. I'm at Talk to Henry J, at Sean and Mitchell, and then and Justin and Shannon, I know you guys just shared yours as well. So it's been a great time. I learned a ton, and I definitely going to step my snap game up a little bit here as well as we continue to move forward. So.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a good one.
Good night.